What is up, guys? So today we're going to be answering a question that I get asked by a lot of the young guys in the office, and that's, how would you turn $100 into $1 million?
I remember when nobody believed in me. I made $1 million, changed the scenery. I still remember when women were mean to me. These days I walk in the club with security. These days I'm feeling a change in the energy. These days you know that I gotta move differently.
It sounds crazy, but there is one way to do it, which I'm going to share with you guys today. But real quick, I want to share how not to do it, because a lot of people, they don't realize really how you would do that. They think that you can get $100 and like just throw it on a crypto coin and become a millionaire, when in reality that's not really true. Like, does it happen? Yes, but realistically it's not going to happen for you. It's like winning the lottery, right? Like, do some people win the lottery? I'm sure, but if that's your strategy to become a millionaire, is to win the lottery, I would say that's not a really good strategy. You're going to take that L most of the time. And imagine with crypto, the reason I think people like love that specific idea is because they see stories or they see people do it and they're like, if they could do it, I could do it. But in reality, it's the same thing. It's gambling. It's the lottery. But I got my whiteboard here because I want to break this down for you guys. Let's talk about it, right? Like, let's say you had $100 and you're starting with $100 and you want to turn it into $1 million, right? People always say, oh, I want to take my $100, let my money work for me. Realistically, there's a couple ways we could do it. Let's say we were to invest it in the market, just the really standard strategy, right? You would take $100, you would invest it into the market, and the market, let's say, grows at an average about 10%. So you put $100 into the market at 10% APY, which is 10% annual yield. Check this out. After 1 year, you would make $10, right? After 2 years, you would make $11. So you've made a total of like $21 after 2 years, just your money in the market, right? This is year 1, year 2. After 3 years, that would be 121 times 0.1. That's $12. 12.1. $12.10. You would make this. So you kind of get the idea, right? After all 3 years of your $100 in the market, you've waited 3 years, you haven't touched it, you've made a whopping total of $33 and 10 cents. I'll be nice. $33.10, right? You can imagine how long this would take to get to $1 million. In fact, if we were to just run this over and over and over again, it would take, if you invested $100 into the market at 10% yield, it would take you 96 years to make that $100 into $1 million. So unless you have 96 years to do it, unless you plan on becoming a millionaire when you're over 100 years old, I don't think this is the best strategy, right? Investing is not going to get you there. And by the way, if we were just to flip this and let's say we did it at 1,000, it's still going to take you a long time. It's still going to take you 50, 60 years to turn that into $1 million. So the point of this is, when people say, I want to turn $100 into $1 million, they're not typically talking about, oh, over time. They're not saying, I want to turn 100 or 1,000 into $1 million in 70 years. Because who wants to be rich when you're 70? You can't even do anything. You can't even enjoy your life. I know for me, I wanted to make $1 million when I was young because it allowed me to travel, allowed me to like really enjoy my life, it allowed me to take care of my family. So I think when people say, how do I flip 100 into $1 million? That's kind of what they're thinking. They're not thinking 96 years. And investing it in the market, it's an okay strategy. It's pretty foolproof if you got 96 years to waste. So we're not going to use that strategy. That's not a very good strategy. I think we've been able to determine that. So let's talk about a strategy that I said in the beginning, because a lot of people, they do this. Otherwise, this wouldn't be like a profitable business. They like to do like lottery tickets. You want to buy lottery tickets, and that's your strategy to flip $100 into $1 million, right? Again, let's just go over this because I want you guys to see this. So you have your $100, and let's say for the sake of this example, a lottery ticket is $1. I don't know how much it is. When I was a kid, it was $1. Maybe because of inflation, it's $2. We're not even going to get into that. But so you buy a lottery ticket at $1, and it gets you 100 lottery tickets, right? Sounds like a lot. Here's the issue. The odds of winning the lottery are 1 in 292 million. Okay, I'm drawing this out so you can see how much this is. This is your odds of winning the lottery. You have a bigger chance of crossing the street and getting hit by a car. You have a bigger chance of getting struck by lightning than winning the lottery. Now, you did buy 100 tickets. So for the sake of this example, that would actually drop you down to 2.9 million, which gives you, that would be less than 1%. It would be 1% of 1% of 1% chance to become a millionaire with this strategy. So realistically, if you were to do this 1,000 times, that would cost you $100,000. You're still not guaranteed to make that $1 million. In fact, your odds are still about 1%, which is a really terrible strategy if you're trying to become a millionaire, right? So can you buy lottery tickets to turn $100 into $1 million? 100%. Is it a good strategy? Absolutely not, because you're looking at this right here. 1 in 3 million chance of actually turning that 100 into $1,000. So, or I'm sorry, that 100 into $1 million. So again, not a very good strategy. Another one I see a lot, and this is funny because the kids out here, you know what I mean, throwing some parlays down. My little brother, love my little brother. He thinks he's going to become rich by throwing parlays down on sports games. He's like, yo, LeBron's scoring over 27 tonight. It's a lock, bro. It's a lock. Yo, Nikola Jokic is going to get 10 rebounds. It's a lock. Sure enough, LeBron scores 26. Nikola Jokic gets 9, and he loses all of his money. It gets really, really appealing to take your $100 and gamble with it, right? Do it. Throw a parlay down. Let's say you want to do a 17-leg parlay. It sounds insane. The odds of hitting this parlay, I wouldn't know the math right off the top of my head, but I would say it's something very, very similar to the lottery. Hitting this parlay is very similar to the lottery. And naturally, we watch the news, we're on social media, and we see these people that like end up doing it where they put $100 into a 20-leg parlay and they end up winning like 50 grand. Guys, most of the time it's not going to be you. I hate to burst your bubble here. If that's your goal to get rich, I can almost guarantee that you're not going to get rich. Maybe if this video gets 1 million views, one of you guys will get rich off of that strategy. But for most of us, it's not going to happen, right? I think one thing people like to do, they like to take the easy way out. So they want to turn 100 into 1 million without any work. Because think about it, that's like the best. I don't have to work. I can take $100, turn it into 1 million. But the reality is that is not how the world works. If you actually want to flip this 100 into 1 million, you want to take this 100 right here and you want to flip it into 1 million. The truth is, it's going to require work. It's going to require some of your time. But the way I'm about to tell you right now is one of the ways that you can almost have the highest chance of doing it. Because everything else is going to involve some sort of luck, right? 1 in a million chance that's going to happen. With this, you can increase your chances, and it's something that millions, if not hundreds of thousands of people have been able to do. What you have to do is take that $100, and instead of leaving it to the world and your luck, you have to take it into your own hands. So you're going to take this $100 and you're going to invest it in a skill. Invest in learning a skill. Okay? And believe it or not, you've been taught this your entire life already. Think about it. Why do all of our parents say, hey, you should go to college and get a degree? What are you doing there, right? Hey, you should spend $50,000 on college to get a degree. Technically, all they're doing is they're telling you to invest in a skill. They just don't say it that way. It's just dressed up differently, right? So college is the same thing, but instead of investing $100 into a skill, you're investing $50,000 into a skill. The reason you want to do this is because a skill will allow you to create more money, right? When you're gambling and when you're investing in a lottery ticket or you're putting it in the market, you're not really creating any money. You're hoping for luck, right? And in the case of the market, if you're investing in the market, you're just waiting for things to grow, but it's out of your control. All of the other ways where people usually say, I want to invest 100, turn into 1 million, they're things that are not within their control. Whereas this is something you have 100% control of. Okay. So if I had $100 and I'm trying to turn it into 1 million, the first thing I would do is invest it into learning a skill. I would buy a course. I would buy a book. I would invest in some sort of education where I can learn how to make more money, right? Again, colleges, it's the exact same thing. You're spending a lot more money. You spend a lot of money to invest in the skill of becoming a doctor, and now you make 200 grand a year, right? Or $150,000 a year, however much a doctor makes. The best part about living in 2025 is that you can learn skills for relatively cheap. In fact, I hate to plug this in here, but I have a course that's $29. I teach you all of the digital marketing stuff that I did. If you're interested, there's a link in the bio where you can get that. But the reason you want to learn a skill, because the way it's going to work, right? You spend this $100, right? You put some time in. So it's not just $100, it's also time, right? So you got $100, you take some time and you use it to invest in learning a skill. Eventually, you learn this skill. In an ideal world, this is a skill you can get paid for, okay? Some really good skills that you can learn is digital marketing. It's what I do. I think it's something I really enjoy, something that's pretty needed in the world. Digital marketing, right? Another skill for the other people that want to actually gamble a little bit more, but gamble more safely. Trading. You can learn how to trade. Again, that involves a little bit more risk, but if that's kind of how you are as a person, you can do that. Another skill you can learn. Web development. Right? Retail arbitrage. That's drop shipping. That's Amazon. We're running out of space here, so I'm going to just type right here. Retail arbitrage. Drop shipping. Amazon. That's pretty much buying a product for cheaper and then finding a way to sell it for more. Right? On Amazon, people will buy a product. They'll find a supplier, buy a product for cheaper, and then list it on Amazon where they can sell it for more, because that's what they do. Drop shipping, all they're doing is getting products from China or a supplier in the US where they can get a product for cheap. They're marketing it, so they still need that digital marketing. They're marketing it to then sell it for more. So they're getting a product for cheap, marketing it, selling it for more. These are all skills that you can use to make money, right? And they're not your traditional skills. In the past, a skill was like, I'm gonna learn how to become an engineer. I'm gonna learn how to become a doctor. And that's great if you're interested in that. I'm gonna learn how to become a lawyer. It's great if you're interested in that. But in this new world that we live in, if you only have $100, you can't really afford to do all that, right? What you can do is you can get a skill that involves the internet that's really easy to learn, stuff like this. In fact, you don't even need $100 for this. You can learn this stuff with videos like this. Just learn more about it, right? I have a free class on digital marketing. You can click in the bio. But you're gonna learn this skill, because once you learn this skill, here's what's gonna happen next, okay? This skill is gonna allow you to then make more money, to then purchase more skills, to then eventually get to that $1 million mark. For example, you have a skill right here, right? In this case, let's say digital marketing, because that's what I did, digital marketing. I learned digital marketing and it allowed me to charge businesses to help them with their advertising. So this digital marketing skill didn't turn into $1 million overnight, but I was able to charge a business $2,000, okay? So I invested $100 into a skill, I learned a skill, and it's created $2,000 for me. Now, I can go on about doing the same thing over and over again, right? I can go and make another $2,000 with another business with digital marketing. I can go on and make another $2,000 here to the point where I'm making like $6,000 a month. But I could take it a step further and I can just go and invest in another skill. Now that I have more money, I can learn more skills. I can learn about finance. I can learn about business. Finance, business. And the more skills I accumulate, the more valuable my time gets, the more money I can make, right? I can learn business and software. So I've taken this skill, digital marketing, right, that I learned with my $100. I've gone and I've used that to make $2,000, $2,000, $6,000, let's say $10,000 a month, right? I'm taking that money now and investing it into more skills that allow me to learn more about finance, business, software. But not only that, I can also take this money that I'm making from my first skill and invest it into network. I can use it to get into a better network, right? One of the best analogies I've heard is people always have this argument about like, oh, girls like money, girls don't like money. And a lot of rich guys I met that are cool, that got game, they always say the same exact thing. Women don't care about money, but you need money to access specific women, right? Like if you have game is game, but like you could have game, but if you can't get into a club with all the hot girls, you're never going to talk to them anyways. So the money gets you access, but game is game. The same applies to the network, right? If you want to network with other rich people, it's going to cost money to do it. You got to be in places that other rich people are at. And by investing in a skill and getting this money, now you can invest into a network, right? So you invest in skills, invest in network, and it continues to grow. So what we have here is kind of like, it starts with 100, it turns into 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. You invested into more skills that allow you to learn more things and make your time more valuable, but you also invest into a network. Because what happens next is now you have a skill stack, what I like to call a skill stack. And a skill stack is the secret to making $1 million, right? You can make $1 million with one skill. It might be slow, but once you have a skill stack, that's when you get into these big numbers. That's when you start making $50, $100, $200,000 a month. So now you've invested in a skill stack. You invested into a network, right? So you have all these connections, you have all these rich people that you know, you have investors, you have people that can help you fund businesses, you have business partners. You also know digital marketing. You know about finance. You know about business. Excuse my messy handwriting. You have all of these skills. You have this network, right? Investors, connections. And now that's when you can start taking this money and really, really leveling up, because this is what gets you to that big $1 million. And this is the most predictable way to do it. Like I said, you can do the lottery, you can gamble, you can hope you hit a big parlay, or you can invest in a skill stack. You can get skills in finance, business, digital marketing, right? Have things that can make you money and also have a network. When you look at any rich person around you guys, when you go out into the world, people say, I can't get rich because I don't have connections. Well, you don't have connections because you don't have money. It almost feels self-defeating, right? It almost feels like, damn, I can't make money because I don't have money. And I can't get connections because I don't have money. But the truth is, you have enough money to start. You have that first $100. That's really all you need to invest in a skill. Realistically, not even that. But that skill will then allow you to make a little bit of money, which you can invest in more skills, which you can invest in networks and connections. And then from there, it begins to snowball. You get this snowball effect. Business is really hard in the beginning. It's the hardest part because you feel like you're starting with nothing. But the second you get the ball rolling, that's when things start to look up because it starts to get crazy, right? So just to kind of summarize this video, because I want you guys to understand this. And again, I know people in the comments, we live in a lazy generation. People always say, but teach us how to the skill, teach us the skill stack. Guys, it's all out there. Like I already plugged in some stuff where you can get more information on that, but I want to give you guys a framework which you can follow. And it really starts with this. If you have $100, that $100 should go towards learning a skill. Invest in a skill. That skill should then allow you to make at least 1,000, right? Let's say 10,000. That first skill should allow you to make your first 10,000. And that 10,000 should go into learning more skills and network. So you're gonna invest in more skills, and you're also gonna invest in your network. And once you invest in more skills, the handwriting is so trash. I'm sorry. When you go into more skills, when you have a network, that's what kind of allows you to continue to level up, because that 10,000 then becomes 100,000, right? And that 100,000, depending on how you invest that, because you already have skills and network, you don't really need to learn more. I always say you should continue to learn. There's a quote that I really like. It's a formal education will make you a living, but self-education will give you freedom. And that's really what it is. So once you're here, you're making $100,000 a month, right? Because you have a network, you have skills. That's when you start to invest in actual real things like the stock market, because it moves a lot faster. If you invest $100 into the stock market at 10%, you only make $10 a year from that. But if you invest $100,000 or $1 million into the stock market at 10%, now you're making 100 grand a year, 10 grand a year, all passive income. So imagine, right? When you start, you invest $100, you can't make anything. But once you start having a good foundation, a good base, you have skills that allow you to make money. Now you have real money that can make a real impact, where you can invest $1 million and make 100 grand a year passive income, where you don't have to work and you're getting checks for $8,000 a month. Because that's realistically the power behind investing. It's the volume, it's the size of your investments. And you only are able to build that size up by investing in a skill, because from there, you invest more into different things, diversify, right? We love that word, diversify. And we get our final number here, $1 million. And that's the entire blueprint on how to take $100 and turn it into $1 million. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions, and Guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna keep dropping videos like this. I got it all planned out now. We got a sick camera up top. We got all these lights and stuff. So like, comment, subscribe if you like the video. Let me know your thoughts. I can't wait to keep dropping more content. Appreciate you guys. Take care.